Namaste. I recently interviewed the Union Minister Piyush Goyal, and we talked about three different topics. First, I raised the concern about China becoming too powerful and a threat to India. But Piyush Goyal said he's not worried, he's not concerned, and he cited India's moral superiority, Modi's charm and standing in the world, and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam type of ideals. I want you to watch this, decide for yourself. Please post your comments with your views and share with your friends. I'm here with the Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal ji, who has some interesting portfolios: railways, coal, finance, and corporate affairs. A very, very interesting combination. And thank you for taking some time in your very busy schedule. I know that you're a very busy person, but I wanted my viewers, who are global kind of Indians, global diaspora, to understand what's happening in India, India's place in the world. The first segment, I would like to talk about the global place of India and its development. When people overseas think of India, they invariably want to compare with China. It's just sort of natural. Is India the next China? GDP is very good, but the two have a different history and a different domestic system. Now, China, having accumulated a huge cash reserve of foreign exchange, has said it's investing $1 trillion in this road and belt initiative, which, as I see it, is a colonization of Africa, because that's where there's a lot of raw material and a lot of fast-moving economies. So they are where the European colonizers were a few hundred years ago in terms of owning the stuff and taking over many of the leaders and investing there. So that's a big part of the investment. But there's another investment also, which is in our neighborhood, in Pakistan and Myanmar and Maldives, now taking over Nepal or trying to take over Nepal and Sri Lanka. So they use this money to create what might be the next level, the next generation of trade routes, the ports, the infrastructure, the sea trade routes. And is that something worrisome for in India, even though we have a dynamic economy now? Is that something that they can use to somehow compromise us?
I think the world is becoming a smaller place with global engagement at its highest in so many centuries. India is a part of that global economy and has benefited significantly in terms of trade, in terms of technology, in terms of an aspirational billion looking for a better quality of life for its people. And I believe what this government has focused on in the last few years is giving an identity to every Indian and a unique identity to India, which is not necessarily a clone of what other countries are doing.
Right.
But we are trying to create and work on the ethos that we have inherited, the Bharatiyata, the Indian ethos, which believes in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which says the world is one family. We have never looked at colonizing any of our neighbors or being a big brother to any neighbor.
Right.
If you recall Prime Minister Modi's first trip to Nepal, where he said, I have not come as an elder brother. We are both equals.
Right.
And what a message it sent to Nepal and the Nepalese people. It is a matter of very great satisfaction for us that today when you go to any part of the world, Prime Minister Modi is received as probably one of the tallest leaders in India.
Yes.
Not only because of his own charisma, not only because of his own personal relations with world leaders, but because he represents 1 billion Indians. It is the respect of 1 billion plus Indians that is being transmitted through Prime Minister Modi. B, he has emerged as a leader who has showcased India's strengths to the rest of the world. And C, he himself has shown qualities of providing kind of statesman-like leadership to the world. The Paris Accord, for example, on climate change. The whole world recognizes that it was thanks to Prime Minister Modi's very, very game-changing thoughts and a large vision for the future, that Paris could have become a success.
Yes.
To my mind, China has its own ideology, has its own way of working, which India certainly is never going to adopt. We are a democracy. Here the rule of law prevails. We very strongly believe in freedom of expression, freedom of speech. The liberty of our citizens is very, very precious to each one of us. And to my mind, our growth and our evolving as a superpower will be far more sustainable, because it will be on the back of many centuries of tradition, culture, value systems, which we cherish very much.
And China certainly broke from its past.
It has broken from its past, but yet it has not got freedom to its people. Yet, I don't know how many investors there are really, end of the day, happy with the work that they've done. It may be materialistically very good.
But setting the ideology and the civilization aside, they do have hard power. Their hard power of money, they're buying up countries, weak countries, buying up real estate indirectly, resources, and now turning it into military power, asserting their muscle. And so, it's not an ideological, in a game of chess, maybe somebody has, or a cricket, somebody has better ideology, but the fellow who hits the pass to gets. So China is saying that, okay, you may be right morally and all that, but we have the muscle power.
I think in international relations and in this highly globalized world, sovereign rights will always prevail over any such territorial expansionist efforts. So I think over a period of time, more and more countries are understanding the subtext, the underlying situation. We have engagement with a lot of the countries which are showing concerns about what has happened in the last few years.
Yes.
Many governments which allowed this to happen are being changed or have changed in the last 2-3 years.
Yes.
You see that people are also conscious that they do not want their territorial and sovereign rights to be trampled.
Sure. So India has done very well in multilateralism, in the globalization, played a very responsible role actually. But do you feel that now there is the rise of nationalism and a kind of de-globalization with Trump and France and Russia becoming more nationalistic, less internationalistic, and therefore it's like everyone to himself, in a sense?
In the short run, this is the kind of sense that we are seeing where trade wars are erupting, protectionism has come to the fore. But my own sense is this may not be it may not be sustainable. My own sense is that more and more parts of the world will react adversely to it. And we have seen a lot of U-turns also in the last couple of years.
Yes.
So I think some of these comments need not be immediate cause of concern. We should let the story play out a little more before we jump to any long-term conclusions.
In the next segment, I'm going to ask Piyush Goyal what he thinks of the fact that most of India's tech workers are serving foreign capitalist organizations, building their assets, their intellectual property, their platforms, and not our own. Is that a problem?